My journey of hope and disillusionment. I joined ActionSA with great hope and enthusiasm in 2022. I was drawn to the party's promise of non-racialism, inclusivity, and a dedication to service delivery. As a community leader in Eerstrus, I believe that ActionSA would be a platform where diverse voices could contribute to building a better South Africa. Unfortunately, my experience within the structures of the party has been the complete opposite. Over time, it became clear that ActionSA has strayed far from its core values, and I have faced challenges that no public representative should have to endure. As a colored woman, I've never encountered the level of racism I experienced within ActionSA. The discrimination I faced was far from external sources or the public we serve, but from the party's own structures. I was consistently undermined, dismissed, and labeled as someone who doesn't know anything, especially by our caucus chairperson that always suppressed me when I highlighted issues that the residents are experiencing, and also what measures we can take. But I never had an opportunity. I was suppressed when I just wanted to speak. No, we'll do it at the next meeting, which never happened. So yes, that was from our caucus leadership. The deliberate marginalization made it increasingly difficult for me to perform my duties as a councillor effectively. Despite my efforts to advocate for minority groups inside the party and prioritize service delivery, I was repeatedly subjected to dismissive attitude and a lack of support. I never had support from ActionSA in Eerstrus during the campaigns, even after during the campaigns and even with the elections, from my caucus as well as from my constituency. I had to run the campaign solo alone with my ladies behind me. They are part of my branch. And I never had an opportunity to say that ActionSA gave the support. I didn't even have the materials to actually run my campaigns. I had to rely on my own resources, which was very difficult for me. Even more troubling was a culture of victimization. I was repeatedly targeted for speaking out against injustice and raising concerns about the direction the party was taking. Instead of fostering open dialogue and constructive criticism, the leadership responded with threats and intimidation. I was told that there's the door. If you're not happy, you're welcome to leave, or we will let you leave. One of the most disheartening aspects of my experience was witnessing hardworking and dedicated councillors being removed, only to be replaced by individuals with personal ties to leadership. The blatant favoritism has eroded the professionalism and integrity of the party. Appointments were not based on merit or commitment to service delivery, but rather on personal relationships and loyalty to specific factions. This practice not only demoralizes committed public representatives, but also undermines the trust that communities place in their leaders. It became clear that my commitment to the values of fairness, transparency, and accountability was at odds with the party's internal culture. As a colored political leader and someone who believes in democratic debate, I have come to the conclusion that there is no place for me in ActionSA. The environment is not only exclusionary, but actively hostile to those who do not align with the dominant faction. In my personal view, political leaders from minority communities in ActionSA are often too afraid to voice their opinions or challenge the status quo for fear of being removed or ostracized. ActionSA was founded on the principle of non-racialism, inclusivity, and service delivery. These values were the foundation of my decision to join the party. However, it is evident that these principles have been abandoned. In ActionSA, Eerstrus does not exist Instead of fostering unity and inclusivity, the party has become deeply divided along racial and factional lines. The promise of non-racialism has been replaced by a culture of exclusion, and the focus on service delivery has been overshadowed by internal politics and power struggles. As someone who has always prioritized servicing the community and protecting the interests of minority groups in the capital city, I find it deeply disheartening that the party no longer aligns with these goals. As a woman with experience in public service, I face additional challenges within the party. Instead of being recognized and supported for my contributions, I was often dismissed and silenced. The lack of respect for women leaders within ActionSA is another symptom of the party's broader issues of exclusion and marginalization. It is particularly troubling that women who dare to speak out or challenge the leadership are often targeted and silenced. This is not the kind of environment that empowers women to thrive and contributive, meaningful to public service. During 2024 general election, it also became clear to me that ActionSA is simply no longer interested in the voters of a community such as Easters or any other minority community. For that matter, in the results of the recent 2024 election are anything to go by. The party has no connection to any constituency except its own political factions. It came to the decision I could no longer continue as a member and as a public representative for ActionSA. Many people in my community, including members of the Democratic Alliance, have been aware of my unhappiness because I never made it a secret. My whole face showed that I am unhappy with the decisions that were taken by ActionSA. For one mere reason, it's through the voters that we are where we are today. And I feel that ActionSA could have come to the ground before taking the decision in joining, aligning with the ANC and EFF. They could have come to our voters and explained to them why they've taken this decision. But unfortunately, I was left at a peril where I had to defend my party, knowing that they've taken off a functioning, hard-working mayor who was Cilliers Brink.